Hey, what's up, fam? Welcome to Ask to My Eyes.
Where we challenge you to stop playing and start pushing.
This right here is my lovely wife, an incredible mother, Iana.
And this right here, this is my awesome husband and incredibly intelligent husband, Aisha.
You forgot
Kind of messed that up. No, because I said husband already,
Yeah.
so then I said it twice.
Hey, what's up, y'all? I'm going to go ahead and jump right into this letter.
Here we go. My man of 2 years wants me to address him as master when I talk to him.
I wouldn't mind that.
I
wouldn't mind you addressing me as master.
You said that. You did. Like,
Sir, master.
That's pretty nice.
Your Highness.
He wants me to address him as master when I talk to him, along with getting permission for everything. Ridiculousness. This has been his personal preference, regardless of 2 years. Regardless, she's been with this dude for 2 years, dealing with this foolishness. This has been his personal preference, regardless of the fact that I told him how I feel about it. I have also talked to some people about some things in our relationship, and I regret it because of how it made him feel. But I needed opinions of people that have done the whole marriage and relationship walk. I was doing everything to make sure I treated him like a king and to show him I love him, but he doesn't see or feel it. I love him and I want things to work for us, but I no longer want to put down my emotions and my beliefs to satisfy him. How can you get this point across to him? How can we get this point across to him?
So I guess you're going to show him this video when we respond. It's not our responsibility to get nothing across to him. You know, you're in a relationship with him, and really and truthfully, it's not too much that you can do to actually get a particular point across to him. You know, you can show him these videos, you can give him books, you can give him other videos, you can give him, you know, exercises and take him to workshops and that type of thing. But if he ain't ready, you know, if he's not ready to receive...
She ain't allowed to take him to no workshops. She ain't leading him nowhere because she has to get permission from him and call him master.
Yeah, so this letter really reeks to me of narcissistic personality disorder. We're not diagnosing him or anything like that, but really the characteristics that you represent in this letter, this whole grandiosity, him wanting you to call him master, you know, that right there is you know, like I said, it reeks of narcissistic personality disorder. And that's not somebody that you necessarily want to be in a relationship, because it's always going to be about him, even if he perpetrates and tries to fake and, you know, tries to mislead and guide you and manipulates the situation to make you think it's about you. It really ain't about you. It's always going to be about him. So it's a dangerous space to be in, a situation that I wouldn't want to find myself in.
So I'm going to say one word. Let me see if you can catch it. For those who are watching, have you seen this movie? It's called Carla. Carla with a K. Remember Carla?
I remember Carla.
Carla, it's interesting that we got this letter because we just watched this movie the other day on Netflix, and Carla is an interesting movie, and it is real life. It is it's based on a true story, and when I say it's real life, I mean that it reflects the real life that people are living every day in their relationships. Real life ridiculousness, real life foolishness, real life trying to figure out who they are and where they stand. And so, sister, it's really not about us saying anything to him. It's not about us trying to get a point across to him. I want you to really listen in closely. I want you to understand that this point is really about you and for you. Carla is a movie. I want you to Google it. I want you to go to Netflix. I want you to find it. It is based on a true story. It is a movie about a person who has no sense of self. It is a movie about a person who's trying to figure out how to keep the attention of her man, who's trying to figure out how she can bring him to her so that he will stay focused on her, and she will do anything by any means necessary to keep this man. You know, she'll let him have a little something else over on the side. She's trying to figure out how to entertain him. She does all kind of craziness, right? And it doesn't matter what she does. It's never enough. And you, my dear, you sound similar to Carla. Because what did she say? Let me quote you. Okay, you say, I have done everything to make sure I treat him like a king and show him I love him, but he doesn't see or feel it. Okay, you've done everything, but he doesn't see or feel it. You want things to work for you all, but you don't want to put down your emotions and your beliefs anymore to satisfy him. And so I'm going to take that to mean that there's a little bit of hope for you, that you're not totally immersed in a place where you have totally lost who you are, trying to figure out how to keep, get, maintain some man. You shouldn't be in a situation where you are trying to figure out how to adjust yourself, manipulate the situation so that you can maintain or keep a man. It's a funky thing to be. You got to figure out who you are. There are certain common traits of men and women who are abusers or who have the potential to be abusers, emotional or physical. And one of those common core traits is the fact that there is nothing you can do to satisfy them, and that they manipulate any and all kinds of circumstances to make the person they're in relationship with feel like somehow they're not enough. Somehow they messed it up. Somehow they did something wrong. Their intentions were good, but somehow they just can't get it right. But guess what? There are also common traits of people who tend to be the other person in that dynamic. Some people just ain't going to find themselves with that kind of dude because it's just not who they are. But there are certain, it's true, but there's certain people who find themselves in those kinds of situations based on their upbringing, based on, you know, some of the things that they've experienced in their lives, and they're always trying to defer, trying to please, trying to figure out how to be good enough. And when they really start to look at their lives, they find out, you know, I don't just do that with this man. I do that with my mama. I do that with my girlfriend. I do that with this dude over here. I do it with the grocery clerk. I do it with my kids. Always trying to figure out how to make everybody happy. You know, everybody happy. And you got to figure out, who in the hell are you? So the lesson for you today that I really want to drop on you right now, first of all.
Before you drop that lesson, let me just say this, that we're not saying that adjustments in relationships are bad. My wife said, making relationship adjustments or adjusting yourself, making changes and that type of thing. Yeah, you know, if you're making an adjustment in a relationship, or the person who you're in relationship with is relatively healthy, of sane mind, you know, and they you know, bring some sense of balance to the relationship, then that's something different than, you know, when there's a crazy and, you know, irrational imbalance in a relationship, which is the situation that it appears that you're in. So, you know, adjustments, you know, aren't always bad, but you want to make sure you're in the right relationship when you're making
them. You know, So to my husband's point, adjustments are a necessity in a good, healthy relationship. But when you're in a situation where you're pretty much figuring out how to do all of this stuff to this letter just reeks of an abuser, someone who is emotionally and potentially physically abusive. You might not even included that. You know, I might have just went on ahead and hit it on the nail. You looking at this video like, dang, how she know that? Because, honey, there are some common traits, and your letter sounds like you one of them. You one of them. You're one of these women who find themselves trying to figure out how to be good enough. That's all it's about. And, honey, you got to give yourself permission.
And if you're not, don't become
permission. No, she is. I'm saying she is. You can't write something saying he wants me to call him master. And I've been in a relationship with this man for 2 years. You feel me? I'm not struggling.
This could be the alarm, though. You know, we could be ringing the alarm
and get his permission for everything.
Yeah, we could be ringing the alarm.
But she's been with him for 2 years. You won't entertain no foolishness like that if that ain't the kind of woman you are. It's not a judgment on you. I'm just calling, like Yama says, a thing. Okay? It's not a judgment. You just have to recognize that if you find yourself in this place, what we often do is we look at the other person and we say what they going to do, what they need to do different, But in order for you to move, in order for you to shift, you got to see yourself in the situation as it really is. You've got to see the reality of it. And the reality is that you are in an unhealthy relationship. The reality is that you need to be able to look at yourself and get yourself back. The reality is that you have slipped too far in. I am almost certain of it because it's been 2 years. The reality is that you said, I don't want to do it anymore. And so there's still hope for you. The reality is that you can and you should make a change. Will you do it? Get out of this foolishness. Go get into some counseling so you can figure out why it is you find yourself in a situation like that. You are worthy. You are enough. You are all that you ever need to be just because you are. When you were born, you were complete. Don't look to anybody else to tell you different. In order to be able to save yourself, though, my sister, you got to stop playing and start pushing.